Thanks for joining our Tech to Exec podcast. And we love connecting with our vendors, with our partners, and really our purpose with Tech to Exec is to help translate the technology from IT leader speak to executive discussion, and also help the executives understand why they need these solutions, how they help them reduce risk, be more secure, collaborate better. And I think you're in the collaboration space. And so just as way of introduction, I'm Mike Linton, CEO of Valcom.
And
Well, very
I'm
good to
Josh
meet you.
Linton. It's nice to meet you, Terry. I'm the CIO of Valcom, and we really like to get this started by having you just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of maybe your journey a little bit into the position you're in now, and
Sure.
then a little bit about your company, about Fusion Connect, and that'll be kind of the beginning of the introduction. So,
My name is Terry Corder. I'm the Vice President of Product Management and Strategy here at Fusion Connect. I've been with the company through different acquisitions and growth for the last 20 years now.
wow.
So long-standing with the company, I've come up through the company. We really work to develop people within our organization and find the right teams together. So before Fusion, well, early in my career, I was in IT and working in networking and was manager of networking for several different companies, some large named healthcare companies, things like that. Uh, Engineering, I've run our solution engineering. I did network engineering for Lightyear Network Solutions, which became part of Fusion Connect ultimately through Birch and C Beyond and multiple other companies. So that's how I've gotten to where I am today. I've run our sales engineering for many years, just moved over to product about 9 months ago, and really am leaning into the strategy of our organization, how we better help our clients and help our partners to move forward with their clients and find the right overall solutions, because it's not just about a single thing that you sell to somebody and then turn it over. It's about the collaboration and how you build a better ecosystem for those clients to work in.
So what does Fusion Connect do? So if you were just to explain to some executive, their IT guy or executive comes and says, "Hey, we need Fusion Connect." What would you, how would you say this is how you would explain it to a smart but not tech savvy executive?
Sure. So if I'm talking to an executive, and I do this all the time, it's kind of that 30-second elevator pitch everybody has to figure out and know what to say. It's really, we're a collaboration company. We help you as a business communicate with your clients. So whether that communication be a more robust network with failover or a unified communication solution where you probably use Microsoft products often. We offer Microsoft Teams, Operator Connect, and licensing. If you're not a Microsoft shop, which we work with many companies that maybe actually use Google or use other platforms for their day-to-day work. We actually also have a outstanding WebEx platform where for 30 years, we did our own BroadSoft and ran our own SIP stack. So we do have a BroadSoft solution here as well. So we've been doing that for many years. We have the Teams, we have BroadSoft, we have a SIP stack. So really, it's all about helping you as a business communicate better with your clients and make sure you don't miss that next big sale, that next big phone call that is going to win you business.
That's awesome. What is different about Fusion Connect than others that provide some of the same things?
Yeah, because there are a lot out there. There's a lot of companies out there that provide many of these same services. One thing that is different about us is we do look at the full solution for a client. We're not just here to sell one piece of it or the other. We're here to help you with your entire solution. But also, we're not just going to sell it to you and walk away. We want to be here throughout the life of your journey with your client and help you grow as a business. So our support organization is all US based, 100% US based. Our staff support organization, so they're all our employees. We run that taking care of your clients as a business day in and day out to make sure that if you have an issue, I mean, it's technology. Issues happen. It's not if you have the issue, it's how quickly we resolve that issue for you and how well you're taken care of. How well did we build it in advance to make sure that if you did have an issue with one piece of your solution, there's redundancy built in there so that you never saw the issue, it was resolved for you. So that's really what we focus on is how to make it as seamless and easy as possible and give you that long-term stellar support that you're looking for. Because like you said, anybody can provide you a turnkey solution. It's how do they support that solution long term?
Yeah, certainly an important part of any decision, right? Is that ongoing support. One of the things that's really, I think, curious on your take around how AI or even cybersecurity. I think it's I'm not sure it's talked about as much in the unified communications
Yeah.
space as maybe in other places. But tell us a little bit about how AI and or cybersecurity are impacting your company, the solutions, your customers. How do you see that impacting you guys?
We do a lot with Microsoft Teams, and Copilot is buzzword. If you're talking about Teams, you're going to talk about Copilot with the AI, but also even a step back from Copilot, that first introduction, which you're going to get with something like a Teams Premium, that in the collaboration and communication space, it can take a meeting like what we're on today. If we were hosting this in Microsoft Teams, it would build in the background an AI transcript. As soon as you start recording or just transcribing, it's going to have the AI evaluate that. If I'm running late for a meeting, I don't know about you guys, I'm sure it happens to you, but if I'm double or triple booked and I have a 30-minute meeting and a 2-hour meeting, I'm going to let the 2-hour meeting people know, hey, I'm going to miss 30 minutes. I'll catch up as soon as I get there. And instead of me having to go into this meeting and either take someone's attention away, hey, what I missed while we were gone in a chat, or having to stop the meeting, okay, catch me up. Where are we? I can pop into that meeting, open Copilot, and say, catch me up. And it will give me a synopsis of where we are to this point. And then after the meeting, I can go back in and say, great, give me takeaways, give me bullet points. What was the to-do list that came out of this meeting? What are some good questions to ask when I came in late to expand on some things? If I'm looking for a specific topic, I know that meeting was about. So you can get that AI integration within the actual communication, the unified communication solution with either Teams Premium or Copilot, but you don't want to just add Copilot. You talked about cybersecurity, and anytime you're introducing AI, you have to take that cybersecurity mindset as well. I had to sit down with our CIO and we talked over several sessions about our cybersecurity when we talked about considered doing Copilot for our company. So we didn't just go out and turn up Copilot when Microsoft said, hey, it's available, everybody can buy it. no, no one should do that. And I'll tell clients, don't just go buy Copilot and turn it on. It's not something that you want to do without knowing that you've set up those borders within your organization, within your ecosystem to say, this file is classified as this type of file. It is a public to our company file, or it is a private file or a confidential file. So you really have to do that file tagging and look at what Copilot is allowed to look at before that you deploy Copilot, because it's not just in Teams. Copilot will actually integrate in every aspect of your business. I use it in Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint. It's great for taking a BRD, a business requirement document. Hey, build me a PowerPoint off of this so I can present it to executives. Give me a high level overview. And it'll take a 30-page document and drop it down to a 7-page PowerPoint with bullets on each page and give you a framework, something to work with. But if you go into Copilot and you haven't set those security measures up, a new person could come in, hey, how much does the CEO make in the company? And if someone in HR had a file that had salaries in it and it wasn't tagged appropriately, it would go search that file and it would give them that information. So that's why you have to be mindful of your cybersecurity and mindful of how you lock that down before you introduce AI into anything. That's why Teams Premium is a great baby step into that because it's locked just to your chats.
Oh, it's really interesting.
Interesting. You talk about the intersection, a collaboration, your solutions are getting people to collaborate more. And then you talk about the intersection of securing the data. You don't want people collaborating too much or getting too much information.
Sure.
Any stories or experiences where you've seen that happen in your industry where you're solving for this solution and now we can communicate, collaborate with everyone, yet it causes problems that we need to be aware of and how those were addressed? Any thoughts around
I
that?
try to in advance look for those threat assessments, and I've seen too many companies in the industry that have done just that. They've gone out and deployed something like Copilot or an AI, and the CISO just within a couple of weeks will shut it down, shut the whole project down. And Copilot is a 1 year subscription. So if you're a couple weeks or a month into a subscription, you have to pay for licenses that your security officer has said, no, we're not going to let those run. So it's really targeting that. The bigger place I see that intersection and finding problems like that is companies will switch over to a collaboration platform. Maybe they've used a basic hosted voice or something very, or maybe they've been on site PBX for years and they're finally moving to a hosted or a unified solution. They're finally getting into a, a full solution set, and they don't take into consideration the fact that if your network is not solid, if you don't have redundancy built into your network, you aren't doing business anymore. You're not running on old copper lines that the biggest thing about those is if the line gets cut outside, you're running over your same data network that you're also transferring large files on. People may be downloading files off the internet, or worse yet, streaming video. And a call like this is at least a 4 meg call. I mean, these are big files that you're transferring. It's video is a big media, and 4 meg doesn't seem like a lot, but if you have hundreds of people in your organization, it'll start chewing up bandwidth really quickly. So people either don't prioritize, so they haven't set up their SD-WAN with prioritization appropriately. And I've run into companies that do that. And that's where being a full solution provider like us, we're able to come in and say, hey, we really should. No, you don't have to upgrade your bandwidth because look, all of this traffic it's March. People are watching basketball and you don't realize it. And I have truly run into that with companies that people start streaming basketball and their voice just gets terrible. So we'll go in and say, look, we ran some traffic analysis. We see that you've got a lot of people going to March Madness or to ESPN. Let's put an SD-WAN solution in. Let's give some prioritization to your voice. Let's block some stuff you maybe don't want blocked, or if you do, if you're okay with this, let's lower the bandwidth on it. Let's limit it so that you can have the right overall solution. We've run into that a lot, which is why we want to help customers do that and ensure that they have that backup. We go into restaurant and retail, the guest Wi-Fi versus a actual business solution. When you give guests access to your network, you need to make sure, one, it's completely secure and secluded from everything else on your network, but two, that it's not consuming bandwidth. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a restaurant and you see people streaming coffee shop. They're streaming something on their laptop, computer, phone, and you're trying to do a point of sale solution and ring up customers. You have to look at your data, think about how you're giving that data to your customers and what really should take priority.
That's really interesting. Mike and I were talking before we got started, and one question we were asking, and I'm kind of still in his question, I think, but why don't people just use cell phones for their phone systems anymore? Or not
Well,
anymore, but why do you see people doing that where they're just saying, you know what, everybody's kind of using their cell phones anything anyway? Why don't people do that?
well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it's not secure. You as a business don't have any control over your individual users' cell phones necessarily. Now, I do use Microsoft Teams on my cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I can take calls anywhere in the world, and I have. I've taken calls overseas. I've taken calls on vacation, unfortunately. But it's if you allow people to use their cell phones, you can't record or record for compliance. There are compliance reasons that you would want to record. Um, if they're giving their cell phone number out, say that I'm an organization that has a sales team, a 50-person sales team, if they're all using their cell phone number, and we know salespeople tend to change companies over time. When they change companies, that cell phone goes with them. That number goes with them 9 times out of 10. If it does, then when your client calls them back and says, "Oh, hey, John, I was trying to get a hold of you. I really needed this." "Oh, well, I'm not with that company anymore, but guess what? I still do that. Let me get you a quote." So as a business, I just lost my business. They didn't go search for it, so they aren't doing anything against your business, but they just, hey, I got an inbound phone call. I'm going to take it and run with it. So if you're using cell phones, those numbers go with the people that take them, especially if they're their personal cell phones. So always best, in my opinion, use a business number, make it work on their cell phone, but don't have them give out their cell phone number. Have them do everything as a business. That way, you as a business owner, as an executive, you're controlling how calls come into your business, and you can assign that number to the next person that you bring in. If you backfill that position, great. Same number when somebody calls and asks for John. "I'm sorry, John's not here, but I'm Tom. I'm more than happy to help you with your business. Let me see what I can do for you."
You've seen a lot of changes in the industry. Being in the industry, you've been so long. Tell us about those big shifts, what you've learned along the way, and what we can do to prepare for the future shifts.
Big shifts have, I mean, I remember punching down cables in a telco closet. That's I've been in the industry over 30 years myself. So I
Now,
started out.
as an executive, if I hear someone's punching down cables, what does that really mean?
If you think about a closet where all of your telephone stuff comes into, which most businesses have one, there are literally just wires on a wall, and they go onto a block. And there's tools that you actually punch those into that block, and that allows your communication, the old POTS lines. So I remember going from that to a everything going over the internet and it becoming unified communication, becoming hosted, basic hosted. Hey, you can do your phones over the internet, and now you can do your phones and chat and video over the internet. And that's going to continue to advance and grow. We've seen the AI influx come in. Something that's still out there that we see, and the next thing that is transitioning and is going to finally finalize, is that shift from those old copper wires, like I talked about, that punch down to a hosted POTS replacement solution. That is something that has been going on for, they've been talking about it for 20 years. It really didn't become an issue until the last 4 or 5 years. And once it did, it has truly spiked. So a lot of your big telcos, the AT&Ts, the Verizons, all of them, they don't want to pay to maintain those facilities that have all of that copper in it. So they are transitioning. They're making it more and more expensive. They don't want to tell their customers, "Hey, we're going to shut this off, so you're just not going to be able to have it anymore," because then you give customers a bad taste. But what they're doing is they're raising prices. And there was a telco act that allowed them to start raising prices. They used to have fixed amounts they could raise it every year, but about 4 years ago, there was an act passed that allowed them to change that. And I have seen phone lines that used to be 20, 30, $40 in the hundreds of dollars. I mean, I've seen $750, $800 phone lines for a single line. And it's where that business may be the only one left in that particular facility that AT&T or Verizon or one of the big guys is running, and they don't want to pay for that building anymore. So they just keep raising the prices on that customer until they finally say, fine, just get rid of these lines. Let's get a replacement. And then they can shut that down, and it saves them money. Well, we are really trying to help customers get ahead of that where we can. Potch Replacement Solutions, which is a small box that gives you those same type of lines, those copper lines that you need for alarms, elevators, escalators, emergency service lines. Um, there are certain rules and regulations you have to have with those. One of those being you have to have at least a 24-hour battery life. So think about it. If power went out in your building and somebody was stuck in the elevator, with those old copper lines, the power was coming from the main facility that was way away from you. Well, now if you're going over the internet and power goes out and your internet goes out, what are you doing about those systems? How do you keep a phone line in your elevator? So originally it was 8 hours of battery, but then they figured out that if somebody's running 8 lines and 8 hours of battery at rest, then they might only get 20, 30 minutes if people are actually stuck in the elevators and using those and they're scared. So they expanded it to 24 hours that they have to keep. And we've got a great solution that does that, and it has a wireless backup. So even if the power goes out and your internet drops, it has a cellular solution built into it. So they're still able to communicate out, and you can give people that peace of mind that are stuck in an elevator. Somebody's trying to get you out, or that your alarm system, if somebody cuts the power to your building, your alarm is still going to function if they bust the door in and are trying to get to you. So that's the next thing. And it's, I hate to say the next big thing because it's such a common and simple thing, but really that has become a big thing in the last year or two. And it's going to continue until everybody moves over to something that's better than just that old copper line that's still in the ground.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of our customers with that exact experience, and I think it's there's probably a lot more. I don't even know the number of people who are still on those traditional lines, but
Oh yeah,
it's
there's a
definitely
lot.
something that we're seeing the exact same thing, right? Where they're just raising those prices to kind of catch
Yeah.
people's attention.
Yeah,
So,
well, and they hope some of them they hope it slips out of their attention
yeah,
because you may have a facility, and I've seen this recently working with a client. The facilities manager was not in IT. They ran the facilities for 150 different locations, and that facilities manager, oh yeah, we're just paying for these lines. It's copper line. We're just doing it. We're paying for it. We're paying for it. Well, the IT guy who works with finance all the time was running the budget numbers and finally said, "Hey, why do we keep going up over here?" Finance asked them and they started looking. Well, we don't ever know about these lines. So the facility guy's just like, "Oh yeah, it works. I'm not replacing it." Yeah, it works, but it's costing us 10x of what it used to. Let's get it out there and get something better. So
yeah, it's
that merge
interesting.
of facilities and IT has really become something as well, is the facility and IT teams having to work together.
Love
It's
that.
really interesting.
Last question. Are there any stories that stand out early in your career or even recently that really taught you something that you would want to pass on that wisdom to other IT leaders?
Couple of little things. Early in my career, I can tell you as a young IT professional, I was very impatient. And I think many IT people, they want to get things done now. I want to get it done now. And you have to have patience in this industry. You have to work on things and work through a solution. You can't expect something, plug it in and it be working in 30 seconds. Yes, it'll work, and yes, you should get it to work, but have patience, work on the issue and resolve it and make it a long-term solution. Don't just stick a Band-Aid on it. And that kind of feeds into the rest of it is step back. Don't just put something in that is going to fix it today and not fix it long term. We had a lot of people do that, and it shocks me. I was talking to one of my coworkers today. It shocks me that here 5 years later we still talk about COVID, but COVID made people put things in immediately. Hey, I've got to get this done. I got to get it done right now. People have to be able to work from home, so I've got to stick something in right now. And then it was great for the technology industry because it boosted things by many years. It made us go to things quickly, but people just put Band-Aids on and got people working. Now it's time to go back, and it has been the last couple of years. It's time to go back and look at what we put in and do things right now. So do them right and get them fixed where they need to be. Have that patience, evaluate your entire solution, and do the right thing overall. Look at what you put in the last 5 years. Make sure you put the right things in and go to work with you or somebody that's going to look at the entire solution and say, here's what you need to look at big picture. Now let's get you an overall solution, not just a fix for your one little problem.
Love that. That is great insight. Terry, thank you so much. Thanks for taking time out of your day, sharing your wisdom, knowledge, and experience. We think for us, this is a treat to meet our great partners that we get to work with and to connect on an executive level. And so we appreciate the partnership. We appreciate what you're building. And I think we could talk for hours about what you're doing on the strategy and all the things at Fusion Connect. And we appreciate that. Just know it makes a big impact as you build great solutions for our customers and clients, that it makes a difference in our lives and in the lives of those that we serve. And that's what matters to us, that we want to all enjoy life at work and at home, and good solutions do that. So your work matters, and we appreciate that partnership. Any last thoughts of the last thing you'd want to tell everybody or anyone before we sign off?
Just thank you, Mike, and you too, Josh, for having me today and for the partnership, like you said, and just like I said before, when you're looking at your solutions, look at the big picture, look at everything you need to put in, and make sure that you've built a sound base and a strong infrastructure so that you can have an overall great experience and solution, and somebody that's going to be there with you throughout to help make sure that your transition is smooth and your technology stays up to date.
That's great. Terry, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here with us, and hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.